This ACL 101 video takes you through understanding the topic question 1. So this is question 1 and we're going to look at it paragraph by paragraph. Let's look at the first paragraph and read through it. All South African scholars should be banned from using the internet to access social media and for entertainment. The internet and other entertaining technological devices are negatively impacting on the scholars' identities, emotional well-being, and overall academic development. Let's look at this first paragraph and pick out some of the key words. The first thing that jumps out at me is South African scholars, and this tells us that your essay is going to have to focus on scholars, so children at school. It doesn't specify, so it could be grade 1 up to grade 12. And that your essay should also focus on South African scholars. So you need to put your essay or contextualize it within the South African context. And that is also reiterated right at the bottom here. It says your discussion must focus on the South African context. Many students fell down on this aspect. So the essay specifically asks you to talk about South African scholars. If we move on a little bit, the next word that jumps out at me is this word banned. This is a very strong word. If you're banned from something, you're not allowed to do it at all. The word banned also has quite negative connotations. So connotations are the feelings or emotions that surround a word. And you know from when you were children, if you were banned from something, it's normally you were punished because you had done something bad. So that word is an interesting choice here, and banning something is a very forceful and firm way of not allowing someone to use it or do it. The next thing that jumps out at me here is internet to access social media and for entertainment. Now note, it talks specifically about using the internet to access social media or for entertainment. It doesn't say here that they should be banned from using the internet for educational purposes or for other purposes. It says specifically banned from accessing social media, which would be things like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and so on. And secondly, entertainment. So entertainment may be things like games, online gaming, perhaps movies online, YouTube videos, that kind of thing. So now we look at why they say that they should be banned. And the suggestion here is that they are negatively impacting, so there's a negative association with these things, and they're negatively impacting on the identity, the emotional well-being, and the academic development of these scholars. So in a nutshell, the sentence is saying that the internet, but not in everything to do with the internet, specifically social media and entertainment, means that it's creating a negative impact on South African scholars' identities, emotional well-being, and academic development. If we look now at the second paragraph, let's read it first. Stricter censorship is vital for the health and well-being of all developing learners, particularly when one considers the fact that learners are easily influenced by external forces. So if we look at some of the words that sort of pop out in this paragraph, the first is here, stricter censorship. So what does it mean for something to be censored? It means it's not allowed, it's banned, we're not allowed to gain access to it. So this person, whoever wrote this, is arguing that social media should be censored. Now, censorship is also quite an interesting word to use because censorship goes against ideas of academic freedom and against ideas of freedom of speech and freedom, general freedoms that a democratic society is allowed. So censorship is quite a strong word, as is banned, which we've already seen. The next thing that jumps out at me here is that learners are easily influenced by external forces. So this is the reason that they've given for censorship having to be implemented. because learners are easily influenced by external forces. Now that you understand what these first two paragraphs are saying, let's look at what you're asked to do. And that is included in the final sentence, the final section of the question. And this word critically discuss is really important. If you're asked to critically discuss something, you're asked to take a position on it. So you're asked to agree or to disagree or to partially agree with what you've read. So if we look at the first two paragraphs, you have to decide if you agree, yes, learners should be banned from the internet. They shouldn't be allowed to use the internet for social media. They shouldn't be allowed to use the internet for entertainment. You agree with that, or you disagree with it. So you think, no, learners should be allowed to use the internet for social media and for entertainment. Or you could also take a position somewhere in the middle. You could partially agree. You could say, yes, they should be allowed to use the internet for entertainment, but they shouldn't be allowed to use it for social media. Or you could say they should be allowed to use it for social media and for entertainment, but that there must be some controls in place. So you can definitely take a position that's somewhere in the middle. Your position in the middle could also be you agree that perhaps that it impacts negatively on their identity and emotional well-being, but you disagree that it impacts negatively on their academic achievement. So you can agree and disagree with the sentences or the topic. The next thing that's important is this section here that says you have to substantiate your position with information taken from reliable research. This was also quite poorly done in the assignments. So what you are saying or what you are arguing in your essay has to be backed up with proof. You need to show us that you've read widely around your issue, around this issue, and in this case it would be social media and the internet in South Africa, and the impact that it has on learners or scholars in particular. So you need to substantiate, you need to back up what you say with information taken from reliable research, and this information should be correctly referenced. If you are unsure about how to reference, there are already videos up on ECI about referencing. Please go and have a look at them so that you can sort that problem out. Again, we remember that this essay must focus on the South African context. Just as a final point, a critical discussion requires you to argue something and prove it to your reader. So if your position is that you feel that the internet should be banned for social media, but that learners should be allowed to access it for entertainment, then the body of your essay needs to tell the reader why you've taken this position. In this regard, please read the article by L. Irvine entitled "What is Academic Writing?" This is in your course reader. And in this article, he says you need to be like a lawyer. You need to prove your position to the reader. And you do that by giving clear reasons why you have taken your position. You can't just say the internet is all bad and it shouldn't be allowed to be used by scholars. You have to give your reader reasons why you have taken that position. There'll be more about how to write a position statement and how to take a position in forthcoming videos.